Austin Hope from Hope Family Wine. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm fine. Fine to see you in Quebec City.
Yeah, we just came in for the race, the Grand Prix this weekend, and we said let's go to Quebec City.
Yeah, but because basically you're a guy who likes motorized sports.
I love motorized sports. Yep.
You've done some.
Yeah, I did. Yep. I grew up racing motocross for a thing called the Mickey Thompsons. I don't know if you remember the Mickey Thompsons, but back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And I traveled that circuit for many years before I got into open wheel racing.
Cool. That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And then you went into wine. What's the link between those two things?
The link between wine and motorized sports is they're both fun. They both make you feel good.
Yeah, absolutely. But you cannot mix those two.
No.
Let's see. What's the sparkle? What's the beginning of the thing? Where did you say to yourself, okay, I'll be doing wine?
You know, I grew up in the vineyards, so we started my family planting wine grapes in 1978. So it was kind of a natural thing, I think. But I was a farmer. You know, I'm a third generation California farmer, and I always felt for a long time like, why do we sell our grapes? Why don't we make wine? We were selling the grapes, and then I said, we got to make the wine. So then I started following around some winemakers and working for them a little bit and talking to them, and then. I went back to my family and I said, we need to make wine. And they said, nah, I don't know about wine. So, but my father, we had met another person, one of our partners from Napa, and he says, well, yeah, you guys should make wine. And we said, well, I don't know. And so it just happened to where I said, hey, I want to make wine. I think we can make wine. I think this is something we should do for our company, rather than just sell all the grapes. So for me, the spark was seeing. You know, it's such an amazing business. You plant a grapevine,
yeah, you
grow it for 3 years, 4 years, and then you take fruit, and then you sell it. But for me, it was like, let's go to the next step. Yeah, let's put it together. So that was really how I got to taste a couple wines. You know, the first time I really tasted some wines, I was just like, this is amazing. And somebody had shown me, you know, a very special bottle of wine, and I was like, this is cool.
But you can do it.
Yeah.
And at this time, Chuck Hope, your father, was the head of the business.
Yes, the farming, and he didn't want to be in the wine. He didn't want to make wine.
But he did it.
But he said, okay, let's try. And so we started trying, and here we are now. We've got 5 different wines and 5 different brands that we've created, and I think now he looks back and he says, I'm proud of you, it's good.
That was a good choice. Yeah, because actually you're heading the Liberty School, 3 and a troublemaker, candor. That's a lot of wine.
It is.
And you have a lot of them here in the stores in over Quebec province, a lot of them. So starting from that motocross, that sparkle, getting over all these things, makes a lot of sense, but that's a lot of work. And I want to talk to you about one wine in particular, and I have to tell you that I've made fun out of you.
Hey, don't worry, everybody makes fun of me.
Melissa Jalbert from your vineyard told me that you were a bad boy at school.
A little bit.
And you've been punished. And that ends up with a particular wine from you. And I want to hear that story from you.
Okay, so I was I would say maybe not a great student.
That's a way to say it.
Yeah, I had a little bit of focus problems. So
yeah. Focus problems.
So my brain would go very fast and would be thinking about other things, and I would always do things. What do they always say? They said I didn't think before I did something.
Okay. Yeah.
So I would pull chairs out from people. I'd make jokes during class, and I ran across some tables during the rainy day schedule one time, and so I was always in trouble and getting in trouble with the teachers. Nothing bad, nothing to go to jail for.
Yeah.
Just
Just disturbing.
yeah, a little disturbing. So my father told me, he says, if you get your name on the board one more time, and that's back then they wrote on the board, they'd write your name, and if your name got on the board, well then you got in trouble after class, and then they tell your parents, and I'll have to go and explain to them, hey, yeah, I got my name. And so every day I would come home, and probably 3 out of 5 days a week, my name was on the board. So my father, he would punish me, he would spank me, he would say, hey, what are we gonna do with you? Da, da, da. And then finally he said, if you get your name on the board one more time, he says, I'm gonna take you out of school and you're gonna go to work in the vineyard. I said, okay. So I got my name again, and he said, because he told me, he says, I'm tired of whipping your ass. That's what he said. He said, I'm tired
Just
of
like
whipping,
that.
yeah, I'm gonna take you out of school. So he took me out of school, and the next day, and I started working in the fields with the guys, and so we were hoeing weeds, and I'm like, this is okay. It's not bad. And so a week goes by, I was still in the field. Every day, we'd start at 7 in the morning, we get done at 3:30. So I started saying, I started adding it up. I got a calculator, and I was getting $2.50 an hour. And so I said, I added it up, and I really wanted to buy a dirt bike. So I had it figured out. By the time summer would be there, I would have made $999, and that's how much a new YZ80 was. And
There's a link between the motorized sport and okay, I get it.
yeah, and so I stayed out for the week, and my dad every day would say, "Are you ready to go back to school?" And I said, "No, I'm good. I'm good." "No, you should go back to school." I said, "No, I'm going to stay here. It's okay. I don't want to." And so then the second week starts, and but in my mind I'm saying, hey, I work 7 to 3 Monday through Friday, and 7 to noon on Saturdays, and the rest of the time is free. This is great. But I should tell you, I was this was in 4th grade.
Yeah.
So I was very young at the time. So finally, the week 2 goes by, and my dad is trying to figure out what to do, because he was trying to scare me, with the work, and he thought I would say I want to go back to school.
It didn't work.
No, it didn't work. So I stayed out there for 2 weeks, and finally my uncle, he came, and I would listen to my uncle. My uncle said, "Hey, listen, he says, you can't be stupid. You have to go back to school." And I said, "Okay, fine, I go back to school." So I went back to school, and the teachers were just like, "I can't believe you stayed out there for 2 weeks." I said, "Hey, I love it there." So that's where the name comes from. So as a small child of my whole life, I was always creating trouble. So that they'd say, when I would come, they go, "Oh, here comes the troublemaker."
So we have today a wine name after the troublemaker, which actually is you.
Yes, it's me.
That's an emotional way to name and do a wine. You have plenty of other wines. And what I want to know is, when you're planning to produce a new one, you have to assemble some grapes. You have to plan a recipe. How does it work? Where does it start? You have a team. You do it by yourself.
I'm a very hyper person. So mentally, I'm always thinking. I'm always going very fast. I'm doing things. So my mind is always thinking of different things, and I get excited about different projects. And I'll taste a wine, and I'll say, we should try and make a wine like this. And we have 5 brands, and if it was really up to me totally, if it is up to me, but if I did everything I want to do, I'd probably have like 50,
Yeah.
Because I taste a wine, I think it's exciting. And usually what happens now today is the company has grown, so I have more people that work for me, and we'll sit in a room and I'll say, just maybe 4 or 5 people, my close people, my head winemaker, my general manager, head salesperson. I'll say, I'm gonna make a wine, I want to do this. And usually I've already done most of it. And then they go, well, I don't know, and this and that. I said, no, and then I convince them, and this is what we're gonna do. It's gonna be great. You're gonna love it. It's gonna be fun.
It's already.
It's already done. But so that's it usually starts with an idea. For example, like you know, the Zinfandel we make with Candor wines. That was I said, I want to make a great Zinfandel and a great Merlot that tastes like a $60, $70 bottle of wine, but I want to sell it for $20. And that's how, things like that, you know, I look at a market, I see something, and it's usually something that I like, you know, with the Triana, the Viognier Marsanne.
Yeah.
To me, when we started that in 1996, nobody was doing that. But I was in the Rhone. I went and toured through Guigal and Chapoutier and saw these wineries. And I'm like, wow, these wines are great. You know, I want to make these wines. And so I came home and said, hey, let's blend these grapes together, because nobody was blending those two together, you know, the Viognier and Marsanne.
Yeah. So you came out with this wine. Mm-hmm. You came out with a great wine.
Yeah, it's amazing wine, you know, and it still drinks good today. So last night we had a 2007 Magnum of Triana White, and you know that's it's got some years on it, and we're still drinking the 1996, our first vintage,
right.
And it's crazy for American wine, white, to be that long in the bottle.
Absolutely.
And still be good.
Did I heard that lately Melissa found a cave which was guarding some, I think, Liberty School.
Yes, some Liberty School old wines.
Yeah.
She told me when we were coming up here, she says, we're going to do an old vertical tasting of Liberty School. I said, what? And then she said they found 99, 97. I said, no shit. I said, where did you find this stuff? We don't even have it at the winery.
Yeah, this is what I read. I think it was on Facebook. And I said, well, that's wonderful. Well, she found that, so she can do it actually. And the other thing is that by doing that, you can prove that you are cherry picking, you are picking great grapes, you are making a wine, but just not making a recipe, you're actually crafting a wine.
Yep.
That is able not only to stand ages, but to hold.
You know, I mean, when we make a wine, I think in my brain, I say, I want it to be great today, but I do want it to last. And it's very important, because it's very difficult to make wines in volume, or you know, it's difficult to make wine, period, that tastes good today. And then when you try and make more than 100 cases of something, it becomes very difficult. So you have to go to all these vineyards. We've got 50 different families that farm for us. So we've got relationships with all these families, and we pick them out and say, okay, we go to them and we look at the soils, we look at the grapes with clones and all the different things, and we say, okay. And then we say, can you farm this way for us? And they say, okay, yes or no. And then we make relationships with them for a long time. And some of the people have been with us for a very, very long time. And so yes, it is very difficult, but you got to have good acidity, good tannins, good fruit, and good winemaking to make a wine taste good today and down the road.
With that kind of cave you just found, well, Melissa, we'll give it to her.
Yeah.
Just found. This is fun and this is interesting, because you can actually do it, you can actually show it, you can actually show your craft.
Yep.
Let's talk about the Austin brand by itself. You chosen to name some of your wine by your name. Mm-hmm. What do they have in particular? Are you taking more time on this one, or?
Well, we live at where the Austin Hope wines come from. We ran out of names. That's what it is. So when you get into the wine industry, it's very difficult to come up with a name for something.
Yeah.
See, so you go. We got Candor, Triana, you know, all this stuff, Troublemaker, and we're like, out of names. Use your name, Austin Hope. No, so we planted a vineyard where we live. My family and my mom and my mother and father live on the same ranch, and so we had a ranch for some time that was there, and it was older grapes. And I'd gone to France and tasted through Côte Rôtie and Châteauneuf-du-Pape, Cornas, all these areas, and went through and tasted all these wines. And I came back and I said, we can do this here, and at this ranch.
That's
and so
a big deal.
I convinced my father to tear all the grapes off. So we took everything out and replanted it to the clones from Europe. And we put those in there, and it took many years. And my idea was to do a great Grenache and a great Syrah that had very old world characteristics.
Yeah.
And made in a similar fashion as Old World, but with a new California feel.
Well,
you know?
you've done it.
Yeah, thank you.
You've done it.
So that's why we name it. It's on our ranch. It's our estate. We call it the
Art
Hope
is
Company.
actually in front of your house.
It is. I live right in the middle of it. Yep. Yep.
And you came, well, you established the Liberty School, which is more popular, which is more easy to approach, but which is still, well, the one you found in the cave that aged very well and that are awesomely priced, $20 a bottle.
Yep.
And I have to tell you that, well, my idea of these as a novice is that they can approach easily $40 to $50 wine,
Yes.
and especially the Zinfandel.
It's nice, huh?
I mean, you done it right.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Tonight you will be showing your products to some of the SAQ store around Quebec.
Yep.
You're doing it like around Quebec, or
Nope, we're going to do it in one spot. We're going to get a restaurant, and we've invited a lot of the product consultants to come in, sit down, and we're going to show them, I think, 6 or 8 or 10 different vintages, older vintages, and then and just show them and let them see it. You know, I think a lot of times in this industry, it's a big industry, and so if you think about it, every world is making wine, right? I mean, every country,
Yeah.
they're all making wine.
Yeah.
And they're all trying to be here, and so it gets very, very competitive. And I think just like any industry, when you get into it, you have so many things going on. Your mind is going. You're doing this, and you forget. Okay, and so a lot of these product consultants and a lot of the people that drink Liberty School, I think sometimes forget. You know, maybe that's what they started drinking, and we wanted to say, hey, we're still here. You know, we're not a big, huge corporate. We're a small family that makes wine, and we really care about making. What we say in the U.S. is we say over-deliver. We want to over-deliver every bottle. Every bottle we want you to have, no matter if it's our high-end Austin Hope Triana or our everyday Liberty School. We want that bottle of wine to be great every time. And so to be able to be consistent for this many years and to have wines that age, we just wanted to bring it back to them and show them, hey, don't forget, we're a great American winery that has worked really hard to get where we are today. And you know, honestly, we've opened a lot of doors in the Canadian market because of our wines. With California now, a lot of California wines are coming here and trying to sell wines here. So for us, it's good and bad, huh?
Yeah, well, you're solid here, and the main proof of that for me is that at the California Wine Fair in Quebec City, we took a radio guy, which is well known here, which is Stéphane Dupont.
Yep.
And when we asked him about what he was doing there at the fair, well, the first thing he answered to that is, I love California wine. I discovered California through the Liberty Schools in
Really?
Fidel. This was the first answer he gave. So the product is well known. The
great.
product is drank here and is loved here, and I think is here to stay. Well, you have these products all over the province of Quebec City, the Liberty School. You are getting in touch with the stores like you do tonight by yourself. You have Melissa Jalbert, who's coming in the fairs when there are
she's amazing.
exhibitions. She is actually. So you're in the community, you're showing your product, and just stay proud of what you're doing, because there are thousands of producers out there, and yes, they are laboratory too that are producing a lot of quantity of wine, and producing and selling a quantity of wine as you are doing, and keeping it in the family and keeping it and handcrafted wine as you are still doing. This is wonderful, and I want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
It was awesome meeting you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.